Okay, so if you want to get out the Golden Age assignment, we are going to go over it. Okay, can you all see my worksheet?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Perfect. So the assignment was the Golden Age of Islam, or the Golden Age of Muslim civilizations. So this was readings from your textbook. What we're going to do quickly is we're just going to go over it. Okay, I'm just going to pause and I'm going to have you guys shout out the answers, and I'll fill them in as we go. So the first part was talking about society and economy. So the Muslim civilizations, or the Islamic Empire, was at the center of a trade network that linked Asia, blank, and Europe. What continent did it link? Asia, blank, and Europe. Africa. Right. Okay. And then within that trade network, okay, demand for quality goods that were produced in the Islamic Empire grew. What are some examples of these different goods that were produced? Okay, what were the Islamic civilizations creating that people throughout the world wanted to buy?
Silk, cotton, wool, gold, and silver.
Okay, silk, cotton, wool. Okay, so different textiles. Okay, gold and silver. Okay, what else? Okay, what else are they creating?
Textiles.
Textiles. Okay. And tapestries. And carpets. Okay, and then give me one other thing that they were creating as well. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It usually helps you like smell good. So a lot of times people put this on in the morning. It's not deodorant. Yeah, perfume, right?
Oh, I was gonna say incense.
Yeah, so same thing, right? Basically, okay? Perfumes, spices, jewelry. And we're all things that were created. That is not tasteful jewelry. There we go. Were all things that were created throughout the empire. Okay. Then all of this trade made the empire very what?
Wealthy.
Wealthy, right? Money, money, money. Okay. And then within the Islamic empires, people lived their life according to the Quran. So this was both their religious life and their everyday daily life. Okay? And among that daily life, slavery was common. Okay? It was not uncommon to have a slave at one point, but then a lot of times those slaves were granted their freedom, or they could work toward their freedom. Okay. What was the most important part of daily life, or what was at the core for daily life? So the blank was at the core.
Family.
Family. Yeah, and especially respect for who?
Elders.
Yeah, your elders. Okay, filial piety, that will come back time and time again when we talk about Islamic civilizations, but then also when we look at Asian civilizations as well. Okay, that respect for elders. And the Quran says that it's okay for men to have up to 4 wives, but all of these wives must be treated equally. Okay, so you can't treat one wife better than another wife. If you're going to have more than one, they all have to be on equal playing fields. You spend equal time with each wife. Okay, talking about Islamic art, we know that religious art in the Islamic Empire could not show the what of God or the Prophet?
Faces.
Face. Yeah, absolutely. Instead, okay, religious art was created by using what types of designs?
Geometric and floral designs, and I don't know the word.
Yeah, geometric and floral designs. And then calligraphy is that fancy type of handwriting. And calligraphy is the fancy type of fine handwriting, or like the really stylistic, pretty handwriting that I can never do. Non-religious art, however, showed what two things?
Famous battles and similar scenes.
Okay, famous battles or similar scenes. What else did it depict?
Daily life.
Yeah, daily life. Pretty average stuff. And then you have 4 different buildings that were created to show the glory of Islam. What were these 4 buildings? What's the first one?
Mosques,
Okay.
palaces,
Mosques. Yeah, palaces. Next one.
libraries, and marketplaces.
Yeah. Perfect. Mosques, palaces, libraries, and marketplaces. Right, was where a lot of the money from the trade went into. So you had really ornate and beautiful mosques, palaces, libraries, and marketplaces. Taking a look at literature. Some people wrote about daily life in the royal courts, so kind of what the government was like. Other stories were like folklore, or kind of like bedtime stories. Right? So the most famous story is the story of who? What's her name?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
You best. Let's give it a whirl.
Scheherazade.
Yeah, Shahrazad. Okay, and so this story about Shahrazad is where she was married to a king, right? And he was threatening to execute her. And he always said, like, the next day I'm going to execute you. The next day I'm going to execute you. And so she told him the story at night and always said, I'll finish it tomorrow night. Or you have to find out until tomorrow what happens. So she was able to stretch this story that she told to her husband for how many nights?
100. I ain't 1001.
Yeah, 1,001 nights. And after those 1,001 nights, her husband was finally like, okay, maybe she won't leave me. Like maybe she actually is loyal. And he decided not to kill her. Okay, those 1,001 nights, so she told a different story every night, became known as the 1,001 Arabian Nights. And it's one of the most widely read folk tales in all of history. It's made up of a bunch of different stories that include, what were the 3 stories that they included in there?
First one was, well, one of them is Aladdin.
Yep,
Another
Aladdin.
one, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. I'm trying to remember the third one. It's Sinbad the Sailor.
Yeah. And Sinbad the Sailor. And were all stories that were found in the 1,001 Arabian Nights. I'm just going to move these down here. Okay. There we go. Okay, talking about the world of learning. So, Muslim scientists / geographers, astronomers were interested in things like astronomy. What's astronomy?
Space stuff.
Yeah, the stars. Right? They said that they were interested in navigation. Okay, and then the last one was in map making. Okay. So astronomers ended up developing a more accurate way to measure what? What did they develop?
Distance on Earth.
Distance, yeah. Right? They were able to figure out, okay, like how far away is space and how can we use space to create these measurements on Earth. Okay. Whereas geographers ended up making more accurate what with these measurements? Did geographers make new?
Maps.
Yeah, they make more maps that actually made sense. Okay. Like if you look at early maps from early civilizations, they don't actually look like what the world looked like today. Whereas Muslim geographers were able to use the distance measurements that astronomers were calculating and actually apply them to map making. So the maps that Muslim geographers used were way more realistic and representative of actual measurements in real life. Okay, then they created or continued to use the Greek invention called the astrolabe. And what does the astrolabe do? What is it? What does it help?
It kind of crap. One sec. Using the stars, it finds positions on like maps and on the Earth and stuff like that.
Yeah, right? It's a way to chart the stars and then determine location on Earth, right? So this was how the astronomers were able to accurately measure distance. Okay, they looked at the placement of the stars and then did fancy math stuff to figure out like, oh, is this star is here and I'm here and this is the distance between that must mean that this place over here is this far away, things like that. Okay, then mathematicians created the blank figure number system that we use today. Okay. What do you think? How many numbers are in our number system that we use today?
10.
10, right? Including the idea of 0 as a placeholder. Okay, so something that means nothing. Right? And then finally, Muslim mathematicians wrote a book about restoring, okay, that we later called what? What type of math did they write about? Algebra, right? Woohoo! Okay, last topic is medicine. Okay, they used blank, blank, and prepared drugs as medicines. What are our first two blanks here?
Herbs and food.
Yeah, herbs and foods. And prepared drugs as medicines. So they have a vast variety of different things that they can utilize as medicine. And then we have a question as what is distillation? Okay. So this is from the text. What is distillation? What do you guys think? It was a way to do what? And distillation was a way to do what? Comes right from our textbook. Okay, it's talking about it right here. And what is distillation?
Prepare medicine and drugs.
Yeah, right? It's a way to prepare medicine. That's what I spell medicine. And drugs that we still use today. Okay, so it's a way to like mix and prepare and measure and like analyze and make sure everything is combined correctly so you don't accidentally kill somebody. Um, okay, so doctors were also able to diagnose certain diseases. They created new ideas about hygiene, or cleanliness, so the importance of washing your hands, right? Which is a huge thing right now, so make sure you guys wash your hands. Okay, but how germs and infection and disease can spread and how practicing good hygiene can mitigate that spread. And then finally, we have a doctor who wrote about what 2 major diseases that we were able to create vaccines for that we now don't have to worry about.
Smallpox and measles.
Yeah, smallpox and the measles. Absolutely. Okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to turn in your completed Golden Age of Islam worksheet. You'll get 5 points for just filling it out with me in class. Then your homework assignment for tonight is the chapter 11 quiz on Islam. Okay, it's just a review of the last 2 days. It's open note, open resource. It's in the Thursday folder. Okay, it's right here, this Unit 5 Islam chapter 11 quiz. That is your homework assignment for tonight. Open note, open resource. Make sure you turn in your Golden Age worksheet that we filled out as a class. Comments, questions, concerns?
What if we did it already?
Did the quiz?
Yes.
Then you don't have any homework.
Oh, okay.
Give yourself a high five. Other questions?